Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the Elevate show with myself, Saf and Mia. And inshallah for the next hour we'll be discussing topics that as a youth affect us and those around us, and those through these discussions we will aim to elevate each other and help us all grow.
Today's topic is about identity and what identity means to us as young individuals and individuals of ethnic minority as well. And just as people, like, how do we describe identity and what makes us unique depending on our understanding? So we'll just start off by talking about like our own experiences and what we see around us.
And who we are, basically.
Okay, so for me, as a young person, I would say from my experiences from teenage years, I definitely struggled with my identity, and I think a lot of young people, especially in like secondary school, I wouldn't really say like college and sixth form, because I feel they've kind of like molded who they are.
Yeah, by then you sort of have an idea of what you like and what you dislike, don't you?
Yeah.
So, but to be honest, the thing is, let's start off, what is identity? Like, what is it?
I mean, you can answer that question. Or like from your own point of view.
For me, my identity is more like my character and it's the way you dress and the way you look, and that makes you you, but it's also your character that makes you you as well.
Yeah.
So say me and you are completely different but the same, and so it's like we have our differences but we have a similar sort of vibe. Do you understand? So we can get along with each other but could be completely different, and that's my identity, being like, I'm different from you but we come from a same background, or we come from a similar household, or like the same religion. It doesn't make us the same.
Yeah.
So our identity is different in that way.
But I guess like that's where, you know, when someone, for example, if I was to ask you, what are you? What would you answer first? Would you say your gender, your religion, your ethnic background?
Some people nowadays they sort of state everything beforehand. Like they don't talk about themselves as if they're human. Like they first sort of say like, oh, I'm so-and-so and I'm, say, brown, or just to put it out there. Yeah. But they might put it that way and just state everything beforehand, so the way they look first comes across and then it's themselves as in inside, which is I don't agree with that. Well, I wouldn't say I don't agree with that, but it's not for me. I would describe myself as me being me, as I'm Saf, like I'm me.
So you'd basically like say your name. You think your name is...
Yeah, because your name does make you, like, you know, you have a strong point about it. Speak about it.
Well, I have like a concept that I personally live by, which is like your name is your identity, and it's like your shield, and it is your essence. So a lot of people don't realize how important their names are. I definitely had like a struggle with my name as a young individual, especially in school, because my name is very long. My actual name is Mia, but I'm like me on this show. But like my name is quite long. People pronounce it wrong
a lot of times.
Yeah. And like they either shorten it or give it nicknames, etc. And like for me, I then was like, I don't want that name, because all like the white people and their names, it was easier to pronounce, because of the, like, we're in the Western world and our names were too hard to pronounce.
Yeah, they just shorten it themselves without sort of even asking you. Well, I mean, I feel like they should, because that's you, because they kind of sort of changes you as well when you have that nickname.
Yeah.
You sort of like...
It's kind of like an alter like ego.
Oh my God, alter egos.
And like, for example, now that I've actually learnt about what my name means, so like my name obviously comes from the first martyr of Islam, who gave her life for the religion. And I think that now that I've gained that understanding, like truly understood it, and not just as a story, as a real individual who gave her life for my religion, for me to be who I am today. And like now I like carry with pride.
As you should.
Yeah. And it's like, but it gives so much essence, because like her characteristics as well. Like,
yeah, you learn from the characteristics, don't you? So then you pick up on it, and then you become well, not them necessarily, but you pick up on the
But you
the
have
good.
their essence, their spirit in you. That's what I believe.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
Because she was strong-willed, she was very determined in what she believed in. She didn't break just because of what they were doing to her. And I feel like, alhamdulillah, I have gained those characteristics throughout my life. I've learnt them, and that definitely does come from my name. It's much more than just something I write down on a piece of paper now.
Yeah, I should really look into my name. Mine is just sort of just, well, I do know about it, but I don't know enough to give a full description as you may.
Yeah.
But even so, like, I feel like the name that I do have, which I've shortened down to make it a lot easier, but Saf, yeah, it's, to me, it is part of me, because even if it is shortened down from what it actually is, which, by the way, is Safia, it makes it a lot easier. It makes it more fun, in the sense of, yeah, it might have a crazy, not even crazy meaning, but deep meaning, depending on, I don't even know what it is, to be honest. But even so, like, just shortening it down just makes things easier for me as well, because then I can sort of gradually get into it as well. Because you start off with, like, knowing what other people call you. So if other people call me that, like, straight up, then I'm like, oh, well, what if they call me by my full name? And then you, like, sort of investigate it, and it's like Sherlock Holmes, Is that the right one?
And like, your name is so much more than like we said, like just something you write on a piece of paper or on a document to certify who you are. It's like
it's
it
from the
literally
very beginning that
is
it's you. That's
And a lot of cultures actually, which we don't realize, they like do naming ceremonies, etc.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think even for us, like the Indian subcontinent, like names are very, very important. They have a lot of meaning.
They definitely are.
And we don't realize that growing up in the Western world.
Do you know what I saw quite recently was a video based on a naming ceremony of this couple, and they went to somebody, a special person, because they wanted to name their two twins, and they went to them to find the perfect names to fit them, because those meanings of those names are like, for them to believe that they, is predestined, that it will help them with their, whatever it means. Like, say one of the names means wealthy in that language, then they will become wealthy. Or do you understand what I mean?
I get it.
So it's like that, and I thought it was so interesting, because there's people making a business out of this, which of course cool for them, but but cool for them, but like, it's just crazy how powerful it is. Like, you don't really realize. I don't even realize, like, wow, self-discovery moment. But
yeah, like I kind of like developed this concept from meeting a person that I met at a itikaf. Like it wasn't like a itikaf. It was like more of a community get together where you meet new people, you pray together, you do dhikr, for a weekend, etc. And I came across this lady, and she had like a new son, and he was about I think 2 years old or something.
Oh, I remember you showing me this.
Yeah, and
so cute.
His name was Abu Bakr, and he was so cute, mashallah. And like,
oh yeah, mashallah.
I asked her, like, why did you choose the name Abu Bakr? And she told me the reasons why. And she was like, because when I saw him, I just saw such a soft character to him. You can
really tell on a baby, like, what they look, what they're gonna be like, what fits and what doesn't. That's crazy.
And like the way she described, she's like, I just knew he's such a soft, kind-hearted character. He's very, like gentle, etc.
Inshallah, they remain that way.
Yeah, inshallah. But like, and like she just said, like, Abu Bakr just was the right name for him, because he possessed the spirit of Abu Bakr. And that's because his gentle nature, and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was known for his gentle nature. And her older son is named Muhammad. And because Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and Muhammad, peace and mercy upon him, were best friends, and she wanted her sons to be best friends. And I thought that was such a beautiful concept. And like that doesn't determine their whole identity, but it gives them the like ground basis of who they are and where they come from. Because like identity is so much more than just who we are today. We carry like the lineage of so many generations before us, and we are like,
it goes beyond what you look like.
Exactly.
And it goes way beyond that.
And even like I saw this thing that it was like, if you look in the mirror, never say that you're ugly, because you're basically maybe carrying the face of one of your ancestors, and how would they feel if you said they were ugly?
Whoa.
And it's like, your identity is much more multi-layered than what we think it is.
Wow. Now you say it like that, I'm like, whoa. Like, obviously, you don't really think about people from the past. You don't really look behind. You sort of look to the forward. Everybody looks forward, but I mean, they do look behind, but they always look forward. Like, you know, what can I do for the future? Everyone's aiming for the future, for the best in the future. But you don't really tend to look behind and like see what you can learn from the past as well. Like, even if you don't know the people, you can still learn something from them. There's always something to learn through that. That's crazy. I think that makes part of your identity as well. That does, looking at the past, looking at your mistakes and your what's the word? Your victories. Looking at those as well.
Yeah, like, I don't know who said it, but like, it was that if you don't know your past, you're not going to know your future.
Wow. That's crazy. No, I'm learning with you. I'm like, whoa.
No, because like the dictionary definition of identity is like the fact of being who and what a person or thing is. And like, but we can't always define who we are. Yeah. But there are certain things that do
help with that.
Yeah. But like 100%, I'm not just one thing, and I can't just say, oh, I'm this and this is my whole identity. Like, for example, I am Muslim, like 100% I'm Muslim, but I'm much more than just Muslim. I have a lineage of different cultures that have made me who I am today.
Experiences,
literally
your clothing. Wow,
like moving on to now, like
sense of humor.
Our points of views like are very different, and maybe some other young people can, relate to what we're saying. But a lot of people as well, like expression of identity. Expression of identity, and like some people express it through fashion, accessories, through the topics that they do.
Their humor. Most times it's humor, or the way their vibe, the way they put themselves out there. I think that's a little way that they do it as well. Yeah. A lot of times, it's usually humor that I know most people do. They turn to a sense of humor. I'm just the crazy one. I'm like, I'm just gonna scream.
Yeah, and people even some people who are crazy, they're just tied to the crazy one of the group. But what defines crazy,
I'll tell you. No, but I do think things like your priorities, your values and your beliefs make your identity as well, because that is a strong one, I think. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That makes you, where your boundaries are, where you're comfortable, that makes you as well, because I'm not saying that you can't, go on and do something out of what you would normally do. But, I mean, for you to be comfortable in yourself, and that makes your identity is your values and your boundaries, innit?
Yeah, and I feel like people, we said, expression for different ways.
Definitely.
For me, just for Muslims in general, not defining a certain stereotype of Muslims, but most Muslims dress modestly or for example, wear hijab to literally publicify that they are Muslims, and that's their form of expression of their identity.
Yes.
And for example, me, I'm wearing a turban today, but I'm not a hijabi, a full hijabi, but that doesn't stop me from expressing my Islam. Like, for example, sometimes I'll wear jewelry and stuff. It's not to say that you have to outwardly show people your religion. For example, it's 100% important that it's in your heart first before you outwardly express it, because then you're given a false, basically view of yourself. Definitely. But for me, how I express it is sometimes I'd wear jewelry, for example, or just a
la chain or something like that. Even that, because it's, for me, I think of when I wear a necklace with any scripture or Allah's name on it. I always think it's close to my heart that way, because then it makes me remember I'm wearing this. I've got
it's like a reminder.
It is. It definitely is. That's why when I wear it, I feel stronger in the sense of wow, it's really with me. It's that. I'm not saying I don't because I can't see, I don't believe that. No. What I'm saying is because it's physically there, I feel it in the sense of I can feel it on me. I know it's there, and I know that it's close to my heart. I hope I'm pointing it the right way. But I do think that's a really strong reminder, and I really appreciate things like that. Of course, you got to be careful with that stuff as well, because that is you know, that's scripture. That's you know, important holy thing. You know,
make sure you're not wearing it in the wrong places. For example.
Yeah, definitely.
But like as well with our culture, for example, like there's so many stuff that we wear. Like for example, I wear a lot of waistcoats, like personally, and I wear a lot of like Pakistani waistcoats, which I just wear with my casual Western fashion. You know, like I like to do
mixing it up.
Yeah, like what's it, infusion or something? The word, I don't know.
We're
like,
not Englishing today.
But like, you know, fusioning it together and like just sometimes randomly wearing like jumka earrings and stuff like that. And sometimes henna. Like that is a way of expression.
I feel so powerful when I wear henna. Like, or Mendi, some might know it as, but like I feel beautiful when I wear that. Honestly, it really does. And there's so many beautiful patterns when you wear that, and you just feel so amazing. Like, and the different colors as well really like can make a difference.
And even like the patterns, for example, are a form of identity, because I might like certain
halal tattoo. sorry.
I might like a certain like pattern compared to you, and that's like like. You know, it shows your identity as well, because it shows what you like. And what you like is your identity.
Yeah.
And
crazy.
Like, I feel identity can never be like defined by one thing.
Yeah.
It's every little thing you do.
Yeah. Like your actions are your identity as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Yeah.
Humor. Let's go with that.
Okay. Okay, guys, we'll be going for a break now, and we're going to be playing Abish J. Rasulallah. Okay.
कालियां जुल्फां वाला दुखी दिलां दा सहारा कालियां जुल्फां वाला दुखी दिलां दा सहारा النبي صلوا عليه صلوات الله عليه كلكم قولوا سوا صلوات الله عليه النبي صلوا عليه
Oh, you came into this life, brought up as an orphan child through a time of deep despair. Oh Muhammad, your days at work began as a fair and honest man. You showed just how much you care. And one night in that cave, when the archangel came, and your life in this world will never be the same. Rasulallah, Habiballah, your light is always showing me the way. Rasulallah, Habiballah, I'm longing for the day I see your face. You brighten up my day, and in my heart you'll stay. With every breath I take, I'll never leave your way. Eyes that could light up any soul, you became the chosen one to proclaim the word of God. Oh Muhammad, in the brightness of the sun or the stillness of the night, you would never ever stop being kind, giving hope and serenity and love to a divided world that didn't have enough. Rasulallah, Habiballah, your light is always showing me the way. Rasulallah, Habiballah, I'm longing for the day I see your face. You brighten up my day, and in my heart you'll stay. With every breath I take, I'll never leave your way. Rasulallah, Habiballah, peace be upon ya. Rasulallah, Habiballah, I really love ya. Rasulallah, Habiballah, peace be upon ya. Rasulallah, Habiballah. Rasulallah, oh Rasulallah, oh Habibullah, show with me the way. Rasulallah, oh Rasulallah, oh Habibullah, day I see your face. Rasulallah, Rasulallah, Habibullah, Rasulallah, show with me the way. Rasulallah, Rasulallah, Habibullah, Rasulallah, day I see your face. You brighten up my day, and in my heart you'll stay. With every breath I take, oh Muhammad, I will never leave your way.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to the Elevate Show. You are listening to Salam Radio 106.2 FM on Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch and YouTube.
Thank you for listening to that, Nasheed. And we'll be going back to the topic that we were talking about identity.
I was talking about sense of humour, then was cut off. but I think sense of humour is a major part. I don't know if we discussed that already. I probably slipped my mind, but sense of humour definitely is one that I think most people identify with or choose.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it sort of comes off with your character as well, kind of like 2 in 1, really, innit? So,
Yeah.
like, say me, my sense of humour is like, I don't know, you tell me. You tell me.
Well, I mean, everybody has their own type of sense of humor, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, it'd probably be more sarcasm.
Yeah.
And for
I'm
you, for
just
example,
plain.
I think it's more practical, like comedy.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you're more, like, you do something very silly or something to make someone laugh. And for me, it's more just like dropping a random
joke,
joke
like
or something.
saying or
Wait.
something.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, humor definitely is a way of expression. Like, some people are like light humor, dark humor, sarcasm, etc.
Slapstick comedy.
Yeah, and just like, you know, like dry humor even. Like, sometimes dry
Yeah,
humor can
yeah.
be so funny, but it describes the person.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, like, because
you can sort of get a gist of how they are as a person by the way they come
Yeah.
off as their comedy or their sense of humor, because then you sort of know how to vibe with them as well, because
Yeah.
then you can, that way you create friends, and the friends that you know that you'll get along with the most.
yeah, I guess like with sarcasm, the people who mostly like do sarcasm are people who, you know, you just don't expect it from. Either
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
quiet, or even if they're not quiet, like they can be very confident people, but it's just like they don't say unnecessary things, and then when they do, it'd be like just so funny out of nowhere.
Time
Yeah.
drop, little,
Yeah.
you know.
And like that kind of like express the type of person they are. Like, they talk when they feel the need to talk.
That's correct. I like that, because some people, well, I'm not saying anybody can speak whenever they want. Don't misquote me or anything, but like, you know, those people who tend to just out of nowhere, I think there's sometimes some of the funniest moments really
Yeah.
are.
Honestly. And like, just like, I don't know, some people don't pick up on this, but like vibes and auras.
Yeah. You for me, I'm that type of person. You have to sort of show me, like straight up tell me sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where we're different, because I feel like you can pick it up sort of straight away by the way
Yeah.
someone looks. I'm like, somebody has to do something or show me something. That's why I
Yeah.
think we're so different, but so similar. at
And
the
I
same
guess as well, like, what, because I know there's like a idea behind vibes. Like, when someone's vibey, you think of someone who's just like goes with the flow, just like, you know,
Selects.
listens to like slow music, etc.
a
Like,
bit of Bob Marley.
you know what I mean? Like, that's a vibey person according to like society. But I think a vibey person can be anybody who just knows who they are
Yeah,
and who are
just
comfortable who they are. I
that's
think that
a really good description. Really being comfortable in what they are. Then they create their own vibe, and then they can be vibey,
yeah.
technically. But yeah, I think vibes are cool. vibes are a good expression.
Yeah, and like what we've spoken about so far is identities and like what identities mean to us and our interpretations of identities so far, and like forms of expression which we have seen and carried out ourselves, and how we are as young people trying to venture out and express our identities through different mediums.
Yeah, it can be in clothes or humour again.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really important, you know, like topic to talk about as well, because a lot of us need to like either work on exploring those.
Yeah, not even work, but you sort of end up doing that yourself, or like you end up picking up on how you become the more you grow.
Yeah,
and that's where
we'll be cutting to a ad break now. Thank you for listening, and we will be back shortly.
Bye.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
हाँ जी जनाब अज तुसने किया 12 बजे वे
जरा फैमिली की बाहर खड़ना चाहना या खिलाने पिलाने से सोचना कुथे जाओ
इस विच परेशानी वाली केड़ी गल है इब्राहिमी बफे रेस्टोरेंट पर जाओ उते फ्री पार्क करो उन्होंने मजेदार ते स्वादले पाकिस्तानी इंडियन चाइनीज ते इटालियन आय 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 खाने ना ते जोड़ी कोई नहीं नाले सस्ते ते स्वादले
ए थे रक्स इसका मतलब है बटवा भी नहीं होला होनेगा इब्राहिमी बफे रेस्टोरेंट वैरायटी ऑफ डिलीशियस डिशेस के अलावा जेलाटो आइसक्रीम एंड वॉफल्स भी करते हैं वीकेंड्स पर अपना टेबल बुक करवाइए और वीकडेज तशरीफ ले आइए ओपनिंग आवर्स शाम 5 बजे से रात 10:30 बजे तक इब्राहिमी रेस्टोरेंट 63 Sycamore Avenue Peterborough PE1 4JP टेलीफोन 01733 313131
HS Lawyers make it so simple. Contact Majid Sarwar or Asad Arif today for any matters relating to immigration, family, business or property. Google HS Lawyers to see why we're the highest reviewed firm in Peterborough, with over 500 testimonies on our honesty, speed and excellent communication, making your legal matter simple, easy and stress-free. Contact us today on 01733 703 978. That's 01733 703 978, or email us at peterborough@hs-lawyers.co.uk. HS Lawyers, built on values of integrity and respect, with offices in Peterborough and throughout the West Midlands.
It's estimated that 5,760 children become orphaned every day, and the numbers are rising. UKIM ensures that the orphans we sponsor receive healthcare, food, education and shelter to show them that there are people who care. This Ramadan, from just £30 per month, you can make a real change in an orphan's life. Your sponsorship will provide them with much needed essentials to ease their situation. For orphan sponsorship, call now or visit ukim.org.
Where can you get high quality and low prices? Amar Food Store and Halal Meat in Lincoln Road Triangle is the place to go. Pay us a visit and take advantage of our special offers and great range of products on groceries, vegetables, fruits and halal meat. Also send money to Pakistan absolutely free. We have all top brands at special offers, offer free customer parking and provide a free local delivery service. Amar Food Store and Halal Meat, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call us on 01733 687 374. High in quality, low in prices.
Asia Restaurant gives you the unique fusion of flavours from Turkey, Iraq, Syria and Iran. Our sheet kebabs are grilled on a charcoal barbecue for that authentic taste. Lamb shanks, fresh shawarma, chili kebab, lamb shish, grilled chicken, freshly made baklava and so much more. Eat in or order through Peterborough Eats or Peterborough Grab. Asia Restaurant, 5 Fitzwilliam Street, Peterborough, PE1 2RU. Call us on 01733 562 530. Great prices, great quality. Why not come and find out for yourself? Asia Restaurant, the true taste of the Middle East.
This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Elevate Show with me, Saf
and Mia.
You are listening to Salam Radio on 106.2 FM on Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
So our topic today was about identities.
Yeah.
And how as young people we interpret identities and how we express ourselves.
I do think, well, let's pick up on the young people first. I do think nowadays especially it is really difficult for young people to express themselves depending on their upbringing, on their environment, their culture. There's a lot of factors that can, you know,
stop the growth.
Stop the growth, yeah, of course, but like have an impact on the way they form. Obviously, that is how people grow, but you know, like it does take a toll on like how they view themselves and how they express themselves.
Yeah,
I think that's a major thing that people should talk about, should have a thing about.
Yeah, because like I think as well, your surroundings definitely make who you are. And there's that saying, I think it was by Imam Ali radiallahu anh. He said that basically if you want to know like the type of people, like the type of person an individual is, look at their friends, and you are upon the religion of your friends.
Yeah.
And we don't realize how much our friends, our family, our peers have such an impact on us and who we develop to be. And sometimes that's not the true version of ourselves, because we are so caught up in what society demands of us, or what our friends demand of us, or what our family demands of us.
Yeah, you do, like, aside from the religious way, like, you're also, like, when you're with your friends, you sort of conform to what they're doing as well. Is that the right word? But, like, you do what they do, you're influenced. Yeah. And that, sometimes it's not really what you value, which is also part of your identity. You know, those things don't actually make you. You might do an act that you personally wouldn't do in your own time, but you're just doing it because they're there and they're watching you.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really hard.
Kind of living a double life.
Oh my God. How do I tell a moment? But I do think that is really difficult nowadays for young people to even have a way to show them. Ooh, sorry. What is that? I just pulled my chair down. But I did. What was I saying?
You were saying about like identity.
Oh wait, yeah, I do think it's a bit difficult for them to express themselves because they sort of have to lead a double life.
Yeah,
because
but like some young people, even though they have like sometimes really understanding parents, for example, and so they still feel the pressures from outside sources that make them, you know, act a different way. For example, like I definitely, from my own experiences in school, was a totally, completely different person who I am today, and that was definitely because of pressures I experienced in school. Like for me, a lot of the young girls when I was at school, they dressed a certain way. Like most of the time, it was like wear skinny clothes, etc., like that. And I didn't see an issue with that, and I still don't, because anybody can dress the way they want to dress.
Yeah.
But for me, everybody was just dressing that way, so I felt like pressure to dress that way. Pressure to do my hair a certain way, you know, pressure to talk a certain way, even.
Yeah,
like,
because you just want to fit in. Because if you're different, then there is that chance that people may pick up on that and then have an issue with it. Yeah, basically.
And even now, like I feel everybody now wants to be different.
Yeah,
but now there's a style of being like different. Like there's like literally a structure of being different. Like you have to fit this criteria.
In that clique of different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be different.
Yeah.
And when you actually are like truly different from your surroundings, people don't like that. They're like, oh, actually, you're not what we expected different to be.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now you say it like that, that is very true. Like, you know, it's weird because I don't really understand the whole idea of like cliques in the first place. Like, that's another topic. But even so, like, there's cliques, you know, like groups, like, you know, groups of, like you said, groups of different, having to fit a certain different and find that and find that. And then if you change, then they have a problem with that as well. Like, it's like development is not seen as a good thing in a sense after you fit that one thing first.
Yeah.
That first thing is the only thing that you should remain as, which I think is really bad, because identity is about growth as well, isn't it? So like if you decide to change the way you are after a certain period of time, and you may like something else that you didn't like, I mean you did like before, so now you don't like it anymore, so you go do something else, then it's like you've abandoned them or abandoned whatever it is, and people of course everyone will feel a bit hurt by whatever it may be,
It's that thing, you know, you've changed, but change is not always bad.
yeah, it's not always bad. And you know, yourself, you know, it's difficult for the person themselves to come to terms with that. So when it's other people having that issue with it as well, I'm sure that is really difficult. I mean, from personal experience, that is difficult.
Yeah, I guess that's why, like, a lot of young people, for example, they really, really do struggle with identity and expression of identity, because they're always afraid what other people will say. And definitely from experience, I had to learn that you can't, you just shouldn't care what people think. And it's
easier
hard
said than done, of course.
Yeah.
So we're not just, you know, saying it like that, but you know.
Yeah, like easier said than done, but it's definitely something that has to be done if you want to literally elevate yourself and become the best version of yourself, and only grow. Like, for example, you know, there's like, let's say like a staircase, you know, you could be literally stood on the same step for like so long, and unless you take those first few steps and just keep going, it's only upwards for you. Then you're not going to go backwards, because nobody walks down the stairs backwards.
Exactly.
You know?
You may fall down a little bit, but you can always climb back up.
Exactly.
And it's really hard to say that, as you know, we're all going through it. At every stage of life you go through that. You're still going, and that is something to be so proud of, that I think people don't appreciate enough.
Yeah,
that in itself is you know, it's always good to be positive, but it's also good to like understand where you're at and also feel proud for where you're at.
Yeah,
like, it does
like,
take time, of course.
Yeah, and like I think there was this saying from Shams, the priest, and he was like a Sufi like dervish or something, and he said that sometimes being like upside down isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes being upside down is better than being upside, you know. And like we always think sometimes when something bad happens to us, it's like, oh, society hates me, or you know, God hates me, but it's not always that. And it's something that is to literally make you become stronger.
Yeah, and that same that is also that version of yourself, whether it be stronger or weaker at that time, at that point in time, but even so, it's still a version of you, and that is your identity, because you can have multiple times and multiple different versions of yourself. I think it's harder to, you know, at the present time you don't really think about that. You really just think, you know, that it was not you, you don't want to be like that anymore. But even so, but it's still a version of you, and I think it does take time to appreciate who you were at that time. Do you know what I mean? Just because you learn from that, so it is part of your identity. So just linking it back to it. But
you might not, like, for example, like the fact that you went through that time, or you were like that, but instead of just regretting it, you should just embrace, okay, that happened to me for a reason. I was maybe not very nice before, because you know that happened to me. Don't deny that happened, you know. Don't deny that you were that type of person. Embracing and confronting it, even if it's bad or good, you know. It's like it made you who you are, and you shouldn't be ashamed of, because that made you now. Maybe you're such a nice person, and because you've grown from the experience of being bad wasn't good for you. You learned that just being you, and that might be the nicest of people, and that true you, being that nice person that you are, you feel the true you, and you feel happier with yourself, with everything around, and you know, good. You feel good, and the good that happens, you realize, you see. I feel like it opens your eyes in that way. You see all the good things. You know, you see the good of even mundane things, and I feel that's so amazing. Just the mundane daily life, but the good in it. You know, and I think people are always. I'm not saying you can't aim for the skies, by all means do so, but you know, some people like the mundane, and I think that's a good thing as well. Yes, some people just have different goals in life. Some people, like, you know, they aim for just a simple life, you know, and that's okay for them. But some
Yeah.
people, they do aim for the stars, and they
And
work
as they
very
should.
hard for. And some people, they just, they're so caught up by society or stress or problems that they can't be the best version
Yeah,
of
and they
themselves.
can't identify for themselves and what they would like, because that is part of their identity as well. Like what they want for their future, what they want for their life is part of their identity as well, in that sense.
Exactly,
Of
and
realizing that,
And exactly, like as young people, we are at the most pinnacle stage of our life
of making the decisions.
Literally,
Yeah.
it's like when people say it's your make and break time of your life.
Yeah.
Especially for ourselves, we're leaving teenagehood and we're moving on to adulthood.
Oh,
We're at that
goodness.
point in our lives, and a lot of young individuals are, and especially for a lot of families, leaving from home for university, for example,
That is
or for
scary.
jobs, and people are like at that make and break because like the actions they do now and what they do would affect them in 5 years, I believe, anyways.
Yeah, no, you're true. Like you're telling the truth. Like how you spend your money
Mm-hmm.
at that time, depends, and like what happens with that money can either not affect you or will affect you in that
Yeah.
future. And like what you do with that and what you make of that will
Yeah.
then you make a bigger picture.
And
Like,
exactly like like with friends, for example, if you have a bad circle around you or individuals who do bad stuff that you just view it as bad and something you shouldn't be doing, then I would advise that you step away from those type of people, because
it's harder said than done again.
it
Yeah,
is
of course,
harder
of
said than
course.
done. But if you think about the bigger benefits which will come from it, because you've now learned to respect yourself and learned that you are on a different journey from somebody else, and it's not always because they're bad people. It's just what they're
actions.
offering for your relationship is
yeah.
not good for your relationship, not good for you, and you need to make those conscious decisions now to have a brighter future which is tailored to you.
Yeah, wow, you put that in a really nice way. No, but that is very, very true. Like, it's so hard to think. Like, sometimes it's hard to make. Everybody makes a plan for their future and everything, but it doesn't actually go the way you want it to be. Sometimes,
Of
like,
course,
it never will. Really.
I would like, from my own perspective, never plan too much.
Yeah.
Like have a goal,
Yeah,
like something you desire to get, and have
Yeah.
like little like steps, like
yeah. Or
like
mini goals.
yeah, like okay, to get to A to Z. Like for example, if you want to become a doctor, you have to study A levels, for example.
It's one by one.
Yeah, and then you need to go to university, but you don't have to rigorously plan every day, because you don't know what your future holds for you. Like you don't know if one day something could happen which could totally change your life, or another opportunity could come and you're like, I never expected that would be for
Yeah.
me.
Or you as yourself change again, like your identity. You can
Yeah.
change completely, and then your plan changes completely. Then you have to start all over again.
Yeah, and I think
Which is crazy,
yeah.
because why would you do that? Because after say you wanted to be a doctor, and after studying so many years or whatever, and all of a sudden you want to, I don't know, be a photographer, then you have to start all over again and do all that again. And then, of course, some may think that, you're wasting life, you're starting again. But I think that's, if you want to start again, start again. But even
yeah,
say,
you
like,
have to have that drive and that passion
yeah,
to
and
do
some
that,
people
though.
do lose that really fast. That, because you feel like as you age and as you go older, you feel like that shouldn't be the time to be learning, but there's always a chance to learn.
Yeah, like, when I'm saying like make or break time, don't feel afraid like, oh my God, now I have to make decisions which
Right
are going
now,
to affect
no.
me. No. Live life as a wanderer, literally, like that. I think
Oh my gosh,
that
I
is
love that.
but that's what Islam teaches
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
like,
definitely.
as Muslims, we can only speak from my experience. Like,
Mm.
from my own experience, like I was like, oh no, I have to do this to be smart, or this to have this type of friend, or to be this in society. You don't.
Yeah,
Literally,
don't
like,
do something to help. I'm not saying don't help others, but like don't put pressure on yourself to help another person if it's not helping you first. Like in the
yeah,
sense.
and just like don't do stuff which are gonna make you unhappy, because your happiness literally paves your pathway.
Yeah.
If you're not happy, you're gonna have a very, very hard and thorny pathway to go
Yeah,
through
you're
to
gonna have a
get to the
tough
end
time.
goal. But you need to like be happy in yourself and your decisions. Like, you know what? If you don't, like, for example, if your friend, for example, was like, "Oh, buy this," and it's something you don't like, don't let them pressure you into
Yeah.
buying it,
You have
because
the right to say no.
as like not it's not a big deal, to be honest, to other people, but it is a big deal to you because you're feeling pressured, you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling like, you know, you have to do something to please someone else. You should never, ever have to feel like that.
Yeah, definitely. You should, like, okay, it might be difficult for some to say no, but when you learn to say no, that is the best time, because from personal experience, I do still sometimes have a difficult time, but I did have a difficult time saying things for myself. And I've learned from personal experience, it's better just to say it straightforward how you feel, because most times they're not going to be offended. Most times, and if they are, that's on them, sort of thing. But you shouldn't have to feel bad for saying no, because that's your right. And if you're not comfortable and it doesn't fit your identity or your morals or your values, then you shouldn't have to force yourself to do something you're not comfortable with, because why would you?
Yeah,
because if you would do it another time, you wouldn't. Why would you do it now?
Yeah, and like, you know, I feel like everyone has to go on their own, and it's just as enough, explore your identity. Like, you have to go on your own journey. It's a very conscious journey. You have to be consciously there, present in your own journey. You're not just gonna like allow, just because, my mother wants this, or my father wants this, or my family wants this, my friends want this.
Think for yourself.
Be conscious, like, be like, I'm on my journey of exploration. Like, you're exploring who you are. Be conscious in it, make conscious decisions, do stuff that, you know, if you think it's going to benefit you, or you think it's going to help you grow in a certain way. For example, if you lack communication, you know, you're not very good with communicating, and you see an event which is like one to make a social event, to make friends, for example, make that conscious decision. Okay, this is a way for me to develop the skill. Take the opportunities that appear in your path.
Yeah,
never like deny them.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it all comes back to, like, we're talking about identity. It makes you that way, because your experiences, what you value, what you like, what you dislike, all make your identity. Because again, it is like, people might identify it as the way you dress or whatever, but even so, like, it's always about what's inside as well, because that's what people will usually see after they see your clothes.
Yeah. And it's just like, I feel like, especially from my experience, secondary school, it's more just like surfing through that time.
Ooh.
Basically, no, because like, I feel you had to basically just
jump on the
try and survive that time.
Yeah, that was
for a lot of
time.
people. And it's like, I 100% will tell you, those people who, for example, were the most popular ones, are definitely not the same as they are now.
Yeah.
And even the most quietest and maybe are so confident now. Because that period of your time is like, most people are just trying to survive, and they don't even know what their identities are.
Yeah, what they like, what they dislike. They're just following that uniformed environment. Like they're just there to get on with what they need to do. So they don't actually look at themselves in that sense.
And they kind of just follow like a crowd of sheep. And I feel like now I would advise, especially at that age, because you're then only 10 steps ahead of everybody else, if you consciously start thinking about, okay, who am I? You know, what is my identity? What makes me me? What makes me happy?
Yeah.
What makes me passionate? What makes me love? Like, I think love is the essence of everything, and loving yourself, and, you know, finding ways to do that. Like, if it's surrounding yourself by
or
good
even
people.
accepting yourselves. Maybe not so much. I'm not saying that loving yourself is a bad thing, of course not. But even if somebody's not ready to do that, even just accepting yourself is enough.
But acceptance
point.
is love.
Yeah.
'Cause you're accepting to love yourself.
Or maybe I have crooked teeth, but, you know, I'm, you know,
Yeah.
you can fix that always, but, you know, you can accept it as of right now, at least. You know, even that is a small step to getting better, and, you know, understanding yourself. Like, you know, taking a break from things as well really does help with and looking at what you actually like. You know, okay, you might see what others like, say your favorite, like, you know, YouTuber, like, you might be influenced from another person, like they showed you it, so you like it now because they like it.
Yeah.
You don't actually like what they're actually doing. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, and it's like, it's okay to, like, for example, like trends, etc.
yeah,
because
of course,
we all
life is a
like that.
trend.
Literally, like, stuff are gonna happen, which is, I'm like, oh, I like that, and it's the time of, you know, your life, etc. But like, also be like your own individual.
Yeah, pick at things.
Don't just be someone who, like, every season is like a new person because of the trends that come out. Like, now you like this, but you never liked it before, but you're doing it for the
And then
wrong
you stop
reasons.
liking it after it's
Yeah,
gone.
because it's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
Like-
but life is a trend though. I've always said it and I always will. Life is definitely a trend. Like, that's hard enough to follow. So if you find your identity in a life, in a society that is trendy,
Yeah, because
It is
this
really
is the Western
difficult.
society, and you are literally like everybody ends up is being a clone of each other because
yeah.
of the way
Yeah.
Western society is, made to be.
Yeah, definitely. Like the way you have to dress or the way you're supposed to look, like, or the way you're supposed to talk, it's crazy because in different environments it's going to change, of course. Like, but just you as you, like, there has so many expectations from you. Didn't even have any expectations of yourself. So
Yeah.
when others put it on you, of course you're going to feel like, what am I supposed to follow? And I think from personal experience of that whole moment, like, I do understand where that comes from.
Yeah.
Like, like, it's really difficult you feel like, am I supposed to wear makeup? Am I supposed to just wear tight clothes? But when you've come to realize, you understand what your values are and what you value and what you like and what you dislike, you just think, no, like, I don't want to. I want to wear my baggy clothes. I want to not wear makeup.
Yeah, not feeling forced anymore.
Yeah, and I feel now that I've done some stuff to change that. From personal experience, I feel like I feel confident. I feel better. Like, I don't feel my skin's not itching because of the makeup. I feel happy. Like, I don't have to go home and spend hours and do this. Of course, I do take care, but
I just hope that, inshallah, from just our discussion of just our own experiences and how we view stuff and everything. Not that anybody else has to agree or follow the same way that we think, but as you can see, we're totally two different personalities, have different journeys. But it's like we're all on a journey to basically become the best version of ourselves, to love ourselves. And I think that's the whole journey of life, is to love yourself and constantly elevate yourself to become a better version of yourself. Because life is only going to, become different. New trials and tribulations are going to come, and you're going to have to be able to overcome those and just keep going.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. You are aiming for something greater, and you are much more than just who you are. Like, you are who you are, but you're part of something bigger. Whether it's, for Muslims, you're part of an ummah. If it's for, just away from religion, for example, you are part of humanity. Everything
recognize you're a human being
Yeah.
first. Yeah, and but along with what you're saying, I understand what you mean, but it's also good to just take a step back and just chill out, just chill out for a little
just
bit.
go for the
Don't
flow,
let
like
yourself,
the wafer.
just let yourself relax and recognize those things as well, because it's great to push yourself and everything, but don't tire yourself out, because then you'll lose yourself, and that, again, from personal experience, is really hard. It really does push you because you don't know what to do, and that's where I think everyone just, you don't know what path to take, and that's where, you lose everything in the sense of you lose yourself, and that's what we're talking about is a identity, and you lose your identity that way.
There's this thing, because you're mentioning losing yourself, there's this thing, Rumi said that, you have to die and be reborn again, basically. So you have to basically die, like that version of yourself.
When
die
you say that.
sorry, I can't quote directly, but the essence of that, what he said was you have to kill that version of yourself to be reborn into another best version of yourself. You have to die before death, and that way you can literally live life.
It sounds scarier than it might actually be.
It's very scary because sometimes it's something you've known your whole life, or identity of yourself that you're
comfortable in it, and then you suddenly, you're obviously you're trying to, but I think if you go too fast paced, then you're going to lose it. But take step by step. That's where I feel like you understand, you learn, you see everything that way, you fully feel it, and that's what I think is what you mean, from what I'm understanding from you, just taking the steps and just picking up on what you actually feel your emotions and everything are just as important.
Embrace everything. It's all a journey. Life is a journey, and
if
us
you
as
feel
young
anger,
individuals,
feel anger, but don't let it consume you. That's what you mean.
As young individuals, we're all there for each other, to support each other. And now, we just want to say thank you, Jazakallah, for everyone who has listened into our show today. And inshallah, we hope to, that through this conversation, you were able to relate or learn something new about yourself and others around you.
Definitely. And
working together to elevate ourselves into better beings. May Allah well, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Until next time. Jazakallah for listening to Elevate on Salam Radio from Saf
and
from
same.
Saf
From Saf and Mia.